Hi, welcome to Pinkabear's Yarning. This particular video we're going to go over Tunisian for people who already know how to knit and crochet. So we're going to skip all of the basics when it comes to yarn weights and what yarn to use for what project. As you can see, the Tunisian hooks are designed very similar to crochet hooks, where they have the hook on the end and then they have the body for the sizing of the hook. This one here is a single-ended Afghan needle. So as you can see, there's a hook on one side and there's a stopper on the other. This is great for middle-sized projects. You can always use a standard crochet hook for your small size projects, but you want to make sure that it's a straight hook. So as you can see, this one here, it's a straight hook. There's no thumb spot where the size changes. If you use one that has a size change in it, then you're going to end up with wonky stitches. This one here is a double-ended hook. This is usually used for changing colors, so when you do a bi-colored project. Or you can also crochet Tunisian crochet in the round using a double-ended hook, where you pull stitches in up through one side and through the other side. You'll see what I mean about that in a minute. This one here is a cabled Tunisian hook, so very similar to cabled knitting needles, where it just has a really long cable, only instead of having another needle on the other side, it has a stopper. And that just keeps your stitches from sliding off the end. Hooks are also sized the same as crochet hooks, so as you can see, it gives you your millimeter sizing. On this particular one, this one here has both the actual hook designation, so as you can see, it's an H hook, and it also gives your millimeter size. I don't know how well you can see that. And this is a 5mm. Again, it's very similar to the way that crochet hooks are sized. So in Tunisian, you have your forward pass and your return pass. So your forward pass is a series of loops that you pull up, and your return pass is pulling the yarn through those loops in order to close your stitches. Okay, so we always start again with a slip stitch or a slip knot, just like that. Okay, and we're going to insert our hook into that, just like that. And we're going to create a chain. So again, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, for however many stitches you want, just like that. And pull through, okay? Pretty simple, right? So in crochet, generally speaking, you skip the first stitch and you would move to this one because this would count as your first stitch. In Tunisian, this is your first stitch. This loop on the hook, that's your first stitch. So when you're counting stitches, this is one. And we're going to go into this very first one, okay? And generally speaking, you want to turn it and go through the bumps along the back of the chain. Keeps it from curling. It also gives it a nice, neat, clean edge for you to do borders in. Okay, so we're going to go in the black loop, just like that. We're going to pull through a loop, and we're going to leave it on the hook. Okay, we're not going to take it off our hook. We're going to just leave it there. And we're going to go in through the next one, just like that. We're going to pull up a loop. So this is a forward pass, okay? And our next one. We're just going to review the simple stitches and the purl stitches, because most of what you're going to be doing, it calls for one or the other or a combination of the two in order to give different looks. There are different stitches for lacing and stuff like that, but it'll give you instructions on how to do it. So how many times you need to yarn over in between your stitches, or how many bars to go through. But most of your projects will start this way, where you pull up a loop in each chain. For a return pass, you always want to make sure that you chain one, just like that. Okay, that gives you your edge piece. And then we're going to yarn over, and just like in crochet, we're going to pull through 2 loops to close our stitch. Yarn over, pull through 2. 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 Yarn over, and pull through 2. And again, we're left with 1 stitch on the hook. Okay, so here, when we're counting stitches, this is the first loop that we started with on the hook from the chain. And as you can see, we have up and down bars all the way across our row. So that's 1 row completed. For our second row, we're going to insert under that very first bar, just like that. And we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Depending on the type of stitch that you're doing, the pattern will call for a certain way to yarn over. Generally speaking, you're just going to yarn over like this. Okay, other stitches call for it to yarn over like that, or to yarn over it this way in order to create a height. There we go. And through the bar, just like that. When you get to the end of the row, if you look at this side, there's two pieces of yarn, or 2 bars. You want to make sure that you go through both of them. Otherwise you end up with a weird wonky looking edge, and it's not pretty. So you want to create a nice even edge by going through both of those loops. And again, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to pull through 1, just like that. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, through 2, through 2, and through 2, just like that. Okay, super simple. As you can see, the bottom row is complete, so it's a closed stitch, whereas the top row is not a closed stitch. It's still got that open look. When you get to the end of a project, then when we get to the end of this tutorial, I'll show you how to close this particular row. So for a purl stitch, just like in knitting, we bring our yarn to the front of our hook like this. We still insert under the bar, but with our yarn in front. And we yarn over and we pull through just like that. Okay, so we've created a purl stitch. Again, yarn in front, through that 1 bar, yarn over and pull through, just like that. So we have another piece on our hook. Yarn in front, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn in front, through that first bar, yarn over, pull through, yarn in front, through that bar, yarn over, pull through, and then in our last one, yarn in front, through both loops, yarn over, and pull through, just like that. So now we have, as you can see, we have bumps similar to knitting in your knit stitch, very similar, as opposed to our simple stitch where you see our forward bars. I'm going to chain 1, oops, chain 1, and our return pass is exactly the same. Your return pass is generally the same unless you're creating a lace work. So we chained 1, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, like that, again, and again. And again. Oop, came right off of my hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. And again, we're left with 1 yarn, 1 hook, 1 stitch on our hook. Okay. Nice and simple. So we're going to do a knit stitch now. So the knit stitch in Tunisian actually looks like a purl stitch in knitting, whereas the purl stitch looks like a knit stitch. So if you take a look at your work, there is actually 2 bars. Okay, so there's one in the front and one in the back. For knit stitch, you want to go between these 2 bars. So you insert your hook and pull up a loop from between those 2 bars, just like that. Okay, and again, instead of along the front of your work like this, you're going to go to the back of your work and you're going to pull up a loop like that. So again, both bars, insert, pull through, okay, into the back, just like that, pull up, and again, through both, and up, okay, and for the end, it's just a simple stitch, just like that, and then we're going to yarn over, chain 1, and the return pass is the same, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Okay. The back of your work will always look like this. Okay, the neater that you yarn over, the neater the back is going to look. So if you loosely do a return pass, then the back is going to look a lot looser than this. Okay, so we're going to do another row of simple stitch so that I can show you how to bind off. So again, pull up a loop in each bar along the front of your work. Specialty stitches will tell you which bar to pull your loop through. Sometimes you pull through the back bar for a different type of look. But that is a subject for another video. Through both. Okay. I'm going to yarn over, create a chain stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, 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 just like that. Okay. So you can. Now binding off is ending the row, or ending the piece. You have to close these stitches. Okay. Super simple. What we're going to do is we're going to insert under the first bar, just like you would to create a stitch. Only instead of leaving your yarn on the hook, you're going to pull it through the stitch that's already there. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch to close it. So through there, and then again through there. If you're doing entrelac, you want to make sure that these stitches are fairly loose. Just like if you're going to do a border on it, if you pull these stitches too tight, then you won't be able to put your hook into it later. Okay, it gives a look of a single crochet edge. Pull it up, and then we're going to pull it through, just like that. Again, insert, pull through like this, and just like that. And then when we get to the end, again, we're going to go through both of these loops, just like that. Pull up a loop, and then pull it through. And there we are. So you see how the stitches are now closed. Right? So Tunisian has a tendency to do a curling thing, just like you can see there. The end of it is starting to curl. It's just the nature of the fabric. To avoid this, go into your back bumps from your beginning chain. You can also increase the hook size. So this particular yarn calls for a 5mm hook, as you can see, upside down. So it calls for a 5mm hook for crochet. If you go up a hook or 2 sizes, so this particular hook that I'm using is a 6.5. If you go up to a 7, you'll find that you'll have a looser fabric. It won't be super thick, but you'll also avoid a lot of this rolling. You can also straighten that out when you put on a border or by blocking your work. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer. If there's more that you want to see, just let me know, and I will create subsequent videos. Okay, thanks. Bye.